Today we are going to talk pump foiling, and I'm going to tell you the top 2 mistakes when learning to pump. Let's go! Thanks so much for joining us on this new YouTube channel. I'm Gwen, and today we are going to talk pump foiling. I'm going to share with you the top 2 mistakes that I've identified in beginners pump foilers. But first, I want to give a shout out to Wingfoil Pro Center. If you find value in our videos, we really appreciate the support. Check it out, wingfoilprocenter.com. But let's get into it. I've been giving a lot of lessons, and actually I made a call recently for all of you to send me videos of your pump foiling so I could really identify the top 2 mistakes. I've received over 100 clips, so thank you so much for sending your clips. Sorry if your clips didn't make it in the video, but I was able to identify really the top 2 mistakes that I see when learning to pump foil, and the number 1 mistake is pushing with the nose up. The timing when pump foiling is very important, and we need to understand the principle on how we can basically keep going over and over and over with each pump. Well, it's basically we are picking up speed every time we are gliding down. Just like with your bike, you are gonna accelerate down the hill, but we can only be going down for so long, so we need to be going back up. So when we climb the hill, we don't want any weight on the board, because if we have weight on the board with the nose up, we are gonna slow down. We are putting on the brakes. Just like with your bike, if you would cruise down the hill, you accelerate. If you go back the hill, you're gonna start slowing down. So the timing on when I have weight, when I push on the board is very important, because if I mix it up, if I push at any time on the board with the nose up, what happens? I put on the brakes. Push with the nose down, I accelerate. Push with the nose up, I put on the brakes. This is the most common mistake, is slightly off timing. We can see it from very obvious to not so obvious. So the very obvious would be the nose is totally up and I'm really pushing and I get a hard brake, I lose all of my momentum and I pretty much stall. That would be the very obvious way. But you can also see it in like intermediate pump foilers where it's not really obvious, but it's the beginning of the push is still slightly nose up, and then you correct it after, but it's kind of like it's too late because you put on the brakes and then you accelerate. So you might be able to overcome it if you have a big foil. You might be able to pretty much survive, but your effort is not fully translating into efficiency and speed because you put on the brake and then you accelerate. But with brand new beginner, what we can see is like just full on brakes, stop. So I have some clips to show you that you guys send me. I have my paper here to keep track of it. So the first clip is from Andrew. He's he has a really nice start off the boat, and then you're gonna see that first push right here, boom, nose up, and then pretty much that killed a lot of his speed. He gets another one, and then it's pretty much game over. Now, something that we can notice in this one is the bird is pushing on to one direction. This is a very common symptom, I would say, of someone that's pushing with the nose up, is because you have momentum forward, but then you put on the brakes. Something is not wanting you to keep going forward because you have that hill. So how does that momentum, spills somewhere else, get away? Like you stop, it doesn't want to go forward, so it's going to want to try to go one side or the other. So if you feel like when you push, it's very hard, there's a lot of resistance, and it really wants to push you to one side or the other, most likely you are pushing with the nose up. The other clip is from Michel. So Michel from Italy. His clip is on the foil drive, and you can see, again, it's not super obvious, so he's able to keep going. I'm assuming he has a pretty big foil because it's really resistant to stall. But you can see slightly he's pushing, he's loading the foil with the nose up, and you can see his speed really decrease and start being really slow. The clip cut, but I'm assuming right pretty soon after that the foil stalled. I have another clip, and this one is from William, which William has really, improved a lot. Now he can pump like up to like 14 minutes, so he's crushing it. But this is in his like early stages, and you can see again, first, second pump are really nose up, and pretty much no more speed after that. He must have a pretty big foil again because it is not dropping, it's letting him go. But you can see his speed just slow, 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 and then at some point it starts turning, and then it's pretty much game over. Again, we saw the turning here, and that's an indication that like you are pushing, you are putting the brakes, it doesn't want to go forward, so that momentum has to go somewhere. It's going to start going on the side. And then the last clip is from Jeremy in France. He's actually dog starting in my hometown, so that's pretty cool. So it's kind of like the same thing here. Toward the end, you can see the nose doesn't ever go down anymore. He starts pushing, nose up, nose up, nose up, and then it's like losing speed. It starts turning because basically that movement makes it that it doesn't want you to go forward. So you had momentum, you're gonna have to go somewhere. It starts turning, and then you drop. What is very important is to be able to bring the nose down with every push. So how do we fix it? Well, the first thing I would say is really doing the glide drill, where you can do it with a lot of different, either off the dog, with your wing. The principle is that we're gonna just hop on the bird and we're gonna try to glide as long as possible. That drill is very important because it makes us understand that the sweet spot on the bird is gonna move depending on the speed we are going to. We get off the dog or we have speed with our wing. At that point, the sweet spot is maybe right here. It doesn't matter, it's at one point. As we start slowing down, that sweet spot is going to move forward. When we lose speed, we get slower. The nose, if we stay on one spot, we're going to start being behind the sweet spot. So now we have weight back, and now the nose is going to go up. So as we slow down, we need to compensate. We need to move our center of gravity forward. You can't really think about it. You have to feel it to really, be able to do it automatically. But the drill, the gliding drill is really going to allow you to feel how that sweet spot is moving forward as you slow down. So what you do is you get off the dog, or you kill the power with your wing, and you try to start high, and you glide all the way to the water, all the way until you come to a stop. If you can just glide and then boom, at the end stall, you failed, because we want to be able to keep the nose down. We want to be able to keep gliding. So that means if we can glide, we are going slightly down the hill. That is very important. If you have the gliding drill dialed, you can get off the dog, you can kill the power in your wing and glide for a long time, all the way down, all the way until you have no speed. What would be a really good other thing to fix your problem if you are pushing with the nose up is that you need to move your center of gravity forward. So can your feet move forward? Can your hip move forward? Can your shoulders move forward? Your chest be more forward? Something has to shift weight forward. So however you are going to achieve that, this is basically what you need to do, so that when you push, the nose is down, you have enough power to keep control, put the nose down, push, and you're going to really feel that acceleration. Is going to feel a lot smoother. Something that you can also feel if you have the nose up when you push, if your mast is not super stiff, is you're going to feel some wobble every time, because you apply a lot of pressure on your bird and it has nowhere to go. Once you start pushing with the nose down, that push is translating directly into speed. So it's not being absorbed by the mast, it's not being absorbed by your legs. It's going to feel a lot nicer of a push, a lot easier on the body, a lot easier on your mast, and you're really going to feel an acceleration. You're not going to feel that putting on the brakes. So now let's move on to mistake number 2, which is pushing more than hopping. So what we see is actually kind of like the stairs effect. We are going down the stairs, so we are going, with every push we are going down, 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 and then we start touching the water. That creates a lot of drag. We are like low. It's pretty much hard to recover from that. So when you do that, you might have a great push. When you push with the nose down, you might generate speed, but maybe what you don't do is you don't really hop. You don't really relieve your weight, so you are not able to reset and go back to the same height. Ideally, when we pump foil, if you want to pump foil forever, you're gonna have to go down as much as you go up, so you can stay at the same height. If you only go down, if you go down 2 and you go up 1, your range is pretty limited, because you go 2, you go up 1, 2, 1, 2, water. So we need to make sure that you get a good hop. So here are some examples that I got. One from Dave on the foil scoot. I thought that was a pretty cool way to like show different support. On the foil scoot, Dave has never, like he has been working on a dog start for a while, never had any success until he got the foil scoot, started seeing some success, but we are seeing those mistakes where he had a pretty decent push, but you can see it's going down and down and down and down, and we are missing a really good hop. Essentially, when we hop, there's pretty much no weight on the bird. Now, when you see someone, it looks like their feet is always on the bird, and what happened is I'm pushing on the bird, my feet are on the bird, I'm hopping, I'm pretty much jumping, the bird is still on my feet because the bird is pushing up. This is the effect that, like, you know, if you had your bird on the water and you really push it as it has speed, it's gonna go up. Well, except if there was nobody on the bird but your feet were jumping, it's the bird coming in contact with your feet. It's not your feet applying pressure on the bird. It's the other way, it's the bird pushing on your feet. So we need to make sure we get a really good hop, a really good jump. The other example is from Rui. Rui, thank you so much for sending your clip. In the winter here, he's pretty bundled up. So nice work going out there, even when it's cold. And look at that. He has a pretty decent push because he's still maintaining speed, but he's just going down and down and down, kind of like that stairs effect. And then at some point he's in the water, and then a lot of drag. The lower you pump, the more mass you have in the water. That introduces a lot of drag. And then also once you start touching the water, obviously the water kind of like grabs your bird, and that's a lot of drag. So the fix for that is really you have to get a good hop. To me, in your mind, you want to think about the hop more than the push, because what happens is I can push, I'm pushing, but I never relieve the weight off the ground. I'm just pushing. So if I do that, I'm gonna do the stair thing, picking up speed, not going high, very high, picking up speed, not very high, and then I'm going down and down and down. Now, if I focus on the hop, 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 I was able to push, but I got a hop out of it. You can't really hop without a push, but you can push without the hop. And that is the problem, is if you're in your head, you focus on the push, 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 you're gonna go down, 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 and you're never gonna go up. And then a bonus mistake, and that's pretty specific. This guy called Balz Müller sent me a clip. I don't know if you know him. He's amazing. His mistake is flipping. He can't just stop flipping. So he got the full scoot and it's flipping everywhere. If that's your case, well, get together with Balz, because you guys need to have fun together. Thanks Balz for sending that clip. If you don't know Balz Müller, check it out. He's has some of my favorite videos out there. Super positive, super inspiring. Anyway, that's it for the top 2 mistakes pump foiling. I hope this is gonna help you. And those mistakes can be as obvious as we can see it right away. Those are the mistakes, and it can be very minimal, and that's why pump foiling sometimes can be hard. You can get stuck at intermediate level where you can maybe pump for a minute, but you can't get past it. Most likely you still have some of those mistakes. They are not super obvious. It's just a slight mistake in the timing, like I explained earlier, it can be super minimal. So if you can get clips of yourself, you might be able to identify those are the mistakes. If it looks pretty good, you know, in the video, but it's still yet, it's not as efficient as it could be because your time is limited, you know, most likely it means that you need to put in more time, because when it comes to fine-tuning the small timing things, that comes with time, repetition, and also just, you know, maybe like, you know, getting your muscles, your in physical shape for that specific exercise. Because you know, you might be in shape, but every specific exercise put different stress on your body. If you are not used to it, you're gonna get tired more quickly. So again, that's gonna come with time, repetition, going out there and finding ways to make it fun, you know, because if it feels like work, you might not improve as much. So maybe get together with some friends, find yourself some challenges, you know, in your mind, and that's gonna help you improve. Keep up, and then if it's getting winter for you, you know, shout out to like those guys like going out there in the winter and putting on the thick wetsuits to keep going in the winter. If you have any question or if you have any comment, please let us know. I love to hear from you, and it also helps everybody in the community to like, you know, learn from, you know, your experience. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next video.